he was a savior, really. It kept the band together and working, so it was a fantastic experience.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time on the channel, hit subscribe right now. So I'm pretty excited because I got to talk to an absolute icon. I sat down with Andreas Kisser from Sepultura. The band dealt with the pandemic by doing a lot of specific quarantine sessions, and now these songs are being collected on an amazing, one-of-a-kind album with a million heavy metal guests. Andreas, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. If we look back just a little bit, you guys released one of, the best albums in your career just before the pandemic started, and then the world goes into lockdown. There must have been a million things that went through your mind. I don't think, oh yeah, in a year from now we'll release a live album was one of them. How did dealing with the whole fallout and not being able to really promote Quadra, how did that go for you?
Yeah, for us, I'm glad that we actually had the chance to put the album out in February. We did a lot of promotion, a lot of interviews. I was in Mexico for a promo tour. Things were starting to flow. We did a Rock in Rio festival where we play one song, Isolation. We presented cover, so we did a proper release of an album. And of course, the next step, it was touring, which was the main thing, always the main thing, to be on the road and really to promote the album, play the new songs and etc., merchandising and all that stuff, So, but everything stopped like 2 days before we're supposed to go to North America to tour. Actually, today we announced again 2022 March, the tour with Sacred Reich and Crowbar and Aftershock and stuff. So really happy that we are working again towards going back to the road. But it was very harsh, for a Sepultura. It's a band it's a touring band. Since 1989, I didn't stay at home for so long than I am today, sleeping in the same bed, having that kind of a routine that it was very different on the road and etc. But technology really provided us with a possibility, which we created this event, SepulQuarta, every Wednesday, really to keep the band together, working, keep the in touch with our fans, to talk about Quadra, to play the music of Sepultura, So it was a savior, really. It kept the band together and working, so it was a fantastic experience.
Was it always with the idea of we're going to capture that on an album at some point, or was it more as the project was going on, like, hey, this is really cool material, we need to do something with this?
Yeah, I mean, not at all. We didn't have any plans to put an album out, because we didn't know how long we'll take. SepulQuarta we were doing every Wednesday. We didn't know for how long, and everything was postponed for 3 months, and then another 3 months, and then another time and stuff. So you're moving according to our possibilities and expectations, and all the news that were coming from all over the place, very confusing, of course. And then at the end of 2020, we had the idea really to put together in an album, because we saw we had such an amazing material.
A lot of musicians that helped you out with this project. The list is ridiculously long of both newer players and iconic people in the industry. We don't have time to go into all of them, but were there people that you work with in this project that really blew you away, that were newer for you to work with? Is there one that stands out?
They are all our friends. We're very happy and privileged to know them all. bands that influenced Sepultura and bands that were influenced by Sepultura. You know, we have between me, Paulo, Derek, and Eloy, different tastes and different communication with different band members and stuff. And we have great friends. They are all great friends, you know, and amazing, talented people, you know. But I have to say, Orgasmatron with Motorhead, you know, we have Phil Campbell there with us, you know, a truly Motorhead with us. The first album he did with Motorhead, you know, so, Motorhead and Sepultura have such a straight, especially Motorhead's very influential in Sepultura in many aspects, you know, and it's the only non-Sepultura song on the album, but it's almost like a Sepultura song because Orgasmatron is really attached to our history. In Brazil, a lot of people even think Sepultura wrote Orgasmatron. You know, they don't even know the Motorhead version and stuff. So it's really special to have Phil Campbell with us to close the album. You know, with that special song. Historically, one of the most special songs for Sepultura. You know, so it was amazing.
Now, as a fan, now that I've experienced this, I dream of seeing this live come together. Now, I also understand, as a logical thinking human being, it's practically impossible to get all these people together. But is that something that you would hope to do at one point with a special show, or will it be like, hey, if you play festivals and other people that were with you on the project, they might, you know, show up as a guest on stage? But can I dream of a bigger thing?
Anything's possible, you know. Now we have this album that is not a live album, and it's not a studio album. It's a very unique new situation that allowed us to do this. You know, Rata Mahata has 3 drummers. You know, to put 3 drums on the stage is very complicated. It can be done, but it's a lot of work in the studio as well. Many microphones, everybody playing together and stuff, sound check and all that stuff. You know. And in this format, you know, one of the drummers sent his material recorded at his backyard with his phone, and that was it. You know, sound and image, and it's on the album. It's fantastic. You know, it's fantastic. It's really unique, special way of doing things that it's very new that we didn't know before that we could do something like that. And along the way, you know, we learn how to deal with this new tool. And in the end, we had the album in our hands, you know. So, but of course, I mean, someday if we have the chance to do one show with everyone, it will be a fucking dream, you know. It'll be amazing. Or, you know, it was very easy. Everybody was really happy to be a part. And we felt we had a big Sepultura family, really, you know, between our friends in the business, our managers and our crew and our fans, of course, you know. So it's a very special, one of the most special albums on our career, you know, because it's very natural, especially because it wasn't planned, you know. So it was really created by itself. It's fantastic.
And it's almost like, you know, we're a few years off, but it's almost like a celebration of the 40-year anniversary of Sepultura, and the track list almost there. And the track list is, you know, definitely has that fan service. And when I told people that I'm interviewing Andreas Kisser from Sepultura, a lot of people, you know, eyes open up. A lot of people also that today are maybe no longer considering themselves a metalhead, but just, you know, thought back of their teenage years. One of those people, actually, I promised I'd give him a call. Otto Aulicino, a Brazilian living in Canada, was really happy to learn that there's an interview of Sepultura coming.
That's cool.
For people like Otto, and for myself, exactly. For people like Otto and myself, you know, the track list is beautifully balanced. You know, the entire career. There's the classics. There's you know, early Derek Green stuff. There's newer material. At the same time, Quadra was such a phenomenal record. I wouldn't have mind, you know, seeing even more new material. You guys re-announced the North American tour to support Quadra. For that tour, given that this is the first full time that you can really support that album, is it going to be a tour focused on Quadra, or now with this new project taking off in such a way, should the fans expect a bit of a balance between the Quadra material and what's going to be on SepulQuarta?
I mean, we just released the studio version of Quadra, and we wanted to perform those songs live, you know, same way we did with Machine Messiah, who drove us and who took us to do Quadra, you know, without the touring, without the communication with the fans, you know, face to face and etc. It's very hard to develop, you know, something new and stuff. And of course, we want to play the new material. Those songs we already play in our shows. I mean, Territory, you know, whatever, Cutthroat and stuff. You know, sometimes we play some side Bs and side Cs and stuff like Hate on the Side and things like that. Hata Mahat is always on the set, but yeah, Possibility Mask as well. We played a lot, of course, on the Kairos tour. So, you know, and if we have the guests there, of course, you know, come on stage and let's jam.
Now you mentioned before, when you look at the guests on this new album, or that were part of the project, there are those people that influenced Sepultura, but there are definitely also those people that you influenced. And you know, previous on the show, we had both Rika Amaral and Fernanda from Nervosa and Crypta today on the show, and both, you know, talk about how influential, even that they may come from different regions of Brazil, or they're not exactly from where you're from, but they were extremely inspired by you. It's beautiful how that circle now, you know, comes around, because you had Fernanda on the album. For you, as you know, you've been in this industry for such a long time, is that a special moment for you when you like take a step back and see that it just, you know, keeps going in a beautiful circle, and that you are now you're working both with Motorhead, or with you know, former members of Motorhead, as well as with bands that you've influenced, and seeing that that ongoing support in the scene? Is that a special moment for you to realize that you're such a pivotal
point? It's fantastic. It's fantastic, of course, man. You know, especially women. You know, you see that heavy metal is very democratic on every aspect. You know, there's no gender, no color, no. I mean, it is styles of music. Sepultura bringing the Brazilian music, Metallica using the country American music, and the Nordic bands and stuff. You see heavy metal, it goes everywhere. Rap, melodic. You know, it's fantastic. It's really great that Sepultura kind of, you know, created this Brazilian way of doing metal that inspired a lot of Brazilian musicians to do the same. You see Gojira, you know, Gojira is a great example of that took the Sepultura attitude in different ways, you know, with the Amazon song they just recently released, and they're jamming Territory on their shows and stuff. So it's great. It's such a great feeling to see that we did, and we're still doing something unique and special that will drive people to find different manners and different ways of doing things, you know, and it's great. And then Glenn Tipton, one of my biggest idols in music, from Judas Priest, he told me Chaos AD was an influence for him. You know, my head was, I couldn't believe, you know, it was so respectful, so great to listen from a metal god like that, you know.
To wrap us up, I just want to ask you one more thing. Besides from asking you to at one point maybe do a vinyl reissue of Under Siege, the live video from back in the day. I know a lot of people would love that. But you recently posted on your Instagram accounts, you know, your story that you shared about, you know, your grandmother bringing her guitar and creating a very musical home where you grew up, and that inspired you. To wrap us up, I wanted to ask you what's going on with Kisser Clan that you're doing with Johan, or that you did with Johan, because I assume that your kids also grew up or grew up in a pretty musical home?
Oh yeah, definitely. They didn't have any choice. I mean, the guitars all over the place and rehearsals and traveling and etc. Yeah, it's very common. Of course, they grew up like that. And my son Johan, he's really following the steps and studying music, playing guitar. We have Kisser Clan together where we play covers. You know, it's a great school. Still for me today, you're always learning. You know, never stop learning. And it's great to play the bands we love, especially with my son on my side and we also have a radio show together here in Sao Paulo, which is great for almost 10 years now. And Kisser Clan is jams, you know, whatever we can. We even did Rock in Rio, the very small stage there, but it was a great party. We did twice and stuff, and many different situations. And we played the music we love, you know, heavy metal in general, from the Beatles to Slipknot or Napalm Death.
Awesome. All right, well, I know that you are extremely busy and that you probably have a million things that you have to run to. That being said, Andreas, I want to thank you so much. It's really cool to see how this project grew and is now culminating with a new record. And I can't wait to see you guys with Crowbar and Sacred Reich in March in Toronto here. It might be very cold at that time. I apologize in advance because Canada in March might be cold. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
We'll be ready.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.